Well, look who finally released the Polaris. It's only felt like forever, but you know, it's only been about 2 weeks since I uploaded my first video, so it's not really been that long. But anyways, so the Polaris finally released. Yesterday there was a live stream. If you didn't catch that, you should go check that out. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the brand new Tribe Polaris for the Battle of Polytopia. If you don't know what that game is, it's a turn-based strategy game. It's currently available on mobile for free, and it will come to PC sometime in the near future. But we are here to talk about the Polaris, and due to them being a special tribe, they have new units, new text, stuff like that. So right now you can see me flashing through all the text. I'll actually put them up on screen as I talk about them. So a few texts have been changed. A lot of the fishing branch, the left side fishing branch has been changed. It was changed. We got Frostwork, Polar Warfare, Polarism, all in the fishing. Archery was not changed necessarily, but the archer unit is different, and trade, the name was not changed either, but instead of a customs house, we get Ice Bank. And I'll talk about each of these different new troops and items in depth. So now let's start out with Frostwork. Frostwork, it introduces a new unit and a new building. The new unit is called a Mooney, which is a troop that you move around, and it moves fastest on ice, but if you move it around after it sits there for one turn, you will be able to freeze the land to create more frozen tiles. It has 10 health, 0 attack, 2 defense, 1 movement, and 1 range. And now for the building that is available with Frostwork, this is also the starting tech for when you spawn in with Polaris, as well as you spawn in with a Mooney. And now onto the building, the Outpost. The Outpost produces 2 population and creates trade routes through ice to other outposts. Must be built next to a land. So this costs 5 stars and produces 2 population. This is essentially a port, but for Polaris. It can be placed on any adjacent tile to land. So that is including corner tiles as well. Normally you cannot place ports in diagonal ocean, but if you freeze the ocean, you are able to place down some outposts in those locations. And now for the next new tech, Polar Warfare. It introduces 2 new units, the Battle Sled and the Ice Fortress. The Battle Sled is similar to a Knight, but for the ice only. It has dash, escape, and skate. The skate ability means that it can move quickly on ice, but will move very slow on land. It has 15 health, 3 attack, 2 defense, 2 movement, and 1 range. So it is a melee unit. The next unit is the Ice Fortress, and both of these units can become veterans status, which will increase their health by 5. The Ice Fortress also has skate, which means it can move quickly on ice, but it will move very slow on land. It also has the scout ability like the battleship, as the Ice Fortress is the replacement for the battleship, seeing as Polaris do not have water or naval units. Its health starts out at 20, it has 4 attack, 3 defense, 1 movement, and 2 range, meaning that it can have 1 space in between it and the target it is hitting. The next tech up is Polarism, which has 1 new building and a new feature. The new building is the Ice Temple, much like the other temples in the game. It will cost 20, will produce 1 population, is worth 100 points of score, and it will grow over time. Very useful for perfection mode if you're playing with Polaris. And the new ability is Glide, which is all non-skating units get an extra move when moving on ice. So they're able to go much farther. It's essentially like having roads instead of having, because you cannot have roads on the ice, and it's like having roads for your non-skating units. The next tech up is the archery tech, which although it is not renamed, it does replace the archer for the ice archer. The ice archer has 3 skills: dash, freeze, and fortify, which obviously dash means that it can walk forward and then shoot. Freeze will allow it, which is, although it is a new ability, it will allow, much like a unit we're about to talk about very soon, to freeze other units, or similar to the Mooney. It has a health of 10, attack of 0.1, which means it can do damage, but I believe that they have to have low health and no defense. So something like a catapult or a mind bender, I believe. It has a defense of 1, a movement of 1, and a range of 2. The final tech that has been significantly changed is the trade tech. It has replaced the customs house for an ice bank. An ice bank will cost 20 stars and will produce 3 stars for every 20 frozen tiles in the world each turn. However, it can only be built once. Now, the thing with the ice bank is it can only go up to level 8, much like the sawmill, the windmill, the forge, or the customs house, or the sanctuary. Although it may only go up to level 4, it still will produce a max of 24 stars per turn, which it may not seem like a lot sometimes when you're late game, but it really is very helpful, considering basically whenever you move your super unit, the Gami, which we will talk about in a second, they freeze tiles that are not already frozen. And every time you conquer cities, it freezes tiles as well. So that it's very easy to get the at least level 3, 4, and quite easy, relatively speaking, to get to level 8, especially if you are playing on a larger map. The next thing that we will talk about is the super unit for the Polaris, the Gami. You may have already seen this in one of my previous videos, but the Gami is actually quite good. The Gami has 2 abilities, Auto Freeze and Freeze Area. Freeze Area is where you can choose that it will freeze an area, which will not only freeze the area, but will also freeze any enemy troops in that area. So it is very useful. As well as the Gami also auto freezes if you move it forwards 1, or how many ever it can move forwards at the time. Its health is 30, the attack is 4, defense is 4, movement is 1, and range is 1. Overall, the Gami is a really strong unit and definitely very useful. As long as you can keep it alive, it will perform very well. So now that I've talked about the Polaris for a little bit, let's just talk about what new things have been added. So Bardur was actually nerfed slightly. It will have less forest and more game and fruit, while Vengir was buffed, getting less game and fruit but more mines, forests, and farms. So as well as a new skill has been created, which I talked about or showed off briefly earlier. It is called Fortify. It means that you can receive a defensive bonus from cities. Giants and other epic units such as the Battle Sled and Ice Fortress do not have the Fortify ability. Basically, it's nerfing giants or super units. And now, the very weird one, Navalons can capture cities. That's weird. I'll throw some pictures up of Navalons capturing cities. Oh well, thank you guys for watching. If you watched this far, this is kind of just not really brief, but an overview of all the different changes in the Polaris update. Yeah, I don't have much else. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description to download the game and go play and buy Polaris instead of watching me. All right, bye guys.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come.